Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm super excited today. My name is Dr. Karen Can, and I'm the founder and the creator of the TOLPAKAN Healing Method and the Academy of Light Medicine. And today I have with me Holly Steward, who is a good friend of mine and also one of my TOLPAKAN Level 2 certified practitioners. And we are here to talk about her practice, how she became a practitioner, all that really good stuff. So I'm really excited to have you here, Holly. Hello.
Hello, hello. So good to be with you today.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here. And now we've gotten to know each other, over that 6 months of training and beyond. And so I know some really neat things about you. But for people that have never met you, tell us a little bit about yourself, like your past, and then, how did you decide, if you will, to become a healer?
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm a musician. I play cello and I sing. And my first job was in HR in corporate America. And then I decided after that I wanted to go overseas for a while. I went for 1 year and it turned into 10. So I lived in Zambia in Africa. And I loved living in community there. And I love organizing people together to have positive impact on the world. And so I had a fabulous time there. I knew I had a lifelong desire for helping people and having this positive impact. And so I ran a medical clinic there and an orphan school. And it was great and I loved it. However, my understanding of what it meant to help people consistently meant giving out all of myself, and there wasn't a whole lot of balance and filling back in for me. And in a rural African environment, as we well know, the need is, there's a drastic need, and just me by myself, it actually wasn't possible for me to fill all the needs. So at the end of that period, which was in 2018, I came back to the US and I had pretty much every autoimmune diagnosis there is. And so my body kind of shut down on me. And in fact, although everybody was telling me I was sick, I now know my body actually saved me because it chose to remove me from that situation, which was not in balance. And I discovered the truth, which was I was intended to survive so I can help people better from a position of thriving. Whereas I had, from wherever, I had this belief that the best way I could help people was sacrificing of myself until there was nothing left. And I believed if I hadn't killed myself trying, I hadn't tried hard enough to help everybody else. And so my body knew better, thankfully, and brought me back to the States to start a healing journey. And yeah, that's kind of how I ended up on this path. And I'm thankful for every bit of it.
Wow, that is just amazing. And I echo a lot of what you talked about. And of course, I've never done that kind of work, in a rural area in Africa for 10 years. But I definitely resonate with that giving, 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 giving till we're totally exhausted and burning out. And so many of us sensitive souls, helper, healer types tend to go down that path. So it sounds like your body kind of was like, save me. And so how did you what happened after that? How did you decide to heal yourself? What did you learn? And then how did you get connected to TOLPAKAN healing?
Right. Well, the first thing I did was I went the holistic natural route and I took a lot of supplements and I got a little bit better and then it got worse again. And so then I discovered the connection with emotional health, which is a big leap. And I did emotion code and body code, and I made quite a bit of progress. And I absolutely loved that. I loved the getting the whole picture of physical, mental, emotional, and so on. And then I kind of stalled out again. So, and of course, there was this whole time period of 2020 in the middle of this. And so I was able to do a lot of studying. In the meantime, I was still working for the organization I had been with in Africa, but I was able to work from home, thankfully. And thankfully, because my physical stamina was so limited that I couldn't even walk for 5 minutes. I did the food elimination diet down to only one food, and I ate one food for almost 2 years. So there's been some drastic seasons of this journey, and I knew body code and emotion code was helping, and I had a lot of emotional healing, and I had a lot of core beliefs shift, and I understood better my role and what had got me to that point. But then there was still something else that needed to shift before I was able to actually stop lying down most of the time and actually eat things. So I discovered you on one of the telesummits and immediately read your book. And I started doing a number of the sensitivity is your superpower MP3s and so on. And I signed up quickly for level 1 TOLPAKAN. And that's when I started to discover there were so many more layers of healing that I hadn't delved into yet. And what I had done already was the perfect preparation for where I needed to go next. And I think also because I've always had the intention that everything I experience, I want it to be worth it so that I can help others. I had a fair amount of willingness to go through what I was experiencing so that I mean, even if I have to do it kind of the long, hard way, then I can help somebody else maybe have a little bit more comfortable journey when the time comes. So I realized this, and I think therefore I needed to understand what was happening along the way. And maybe that's part of how the pace was. But when I started TOLPAKAN, things started to shift really quickly. And I have been able to reintroduce many, many foods. And when you say healing faster than the speed of light, it actually has been my experience and my ability I can go all day without lying down. And that many things have improved in that way. But one of the big keys was the concept of boundaries. I think even though I had done a good bit of emotional and mental healing, there were just other areas where I was leaking out everything, and I was also absorbing in everybody else's stuff. So in my whole body and system were kind of giving out all the good stuff I had and taking on everybody else's low stuff. And it was still exhausting me. And when I learned how to manage that, harness the superpower, then things really started to shift. And it put me in a better position to help others than the way I had been trying to do it before.
You've done some amazing work in this space. So that's one thing to, heal yourself and wanting to help others. How did you make the decision to actually do the certification program and actually become a professional healer? Because obviously you were in a completely different line of work before.
Right. Yes. Well, as soon as I discovered emotion code, then I got certified and I started working with clients. But then I actually had a dip, and I got so that I didn't have enough physical strength even to do that. So that I was even more determined to heal. And so the first thing for the reason I wanted to do level 2 was for continuing to heal myself. And I knew that was going to mean one-on-one time with you through the course. And that if there was anything else to learn that I hadn't already done going through level 1, I absolutely wanted all of it as soon as possible. And the other good thing is the way you do the course is by practicing on yourself. So I was going to be doing that as much as possible anyway. And during the 6 months of the course, I still was mostly focused on my own healing. And then the transition for me to be in a good enough place to be able to help others happened towards the end. And that worked out great. And I do see that it incorporates into all areas of my life. So even though I'm still working with the organization, helping the projects in Africa and so on, I've learned so much about how to improve my interaction with people, even in that space, and that I can shine my light in every meeting that I'm in all day, whether it's a fun topic or a not fun topic. The things that I've learned about turning down my resistance to things or having higher willingness to things, it's transformed all those aspects of life, not just my physical health, and made me much more effective. So I've been asked to be on important work teams. I've gotten a couple of promotions. So the way that the attracting abundance happens, yeah, I was pretty focused on the physical part because I needed to be able to walk and eat. But it quickly spread into those other areas.
Oh, wow, that's so exciting to hear. Now, I was just about to ask you, name like 2 positive experiences of you going through TOLPAKAN healing. You've already given us a bunch, but maybe you can go into detail a couple of others, or go into detail the ones that you shared with us.
Yeah, well, it used to be that after every Zoom call, I had to go and lay down in between meetings, and I couldn't do 2 meetings in a row. And now I work all day and I'm seeing clients in the evening and on the weekend. So my physical stamina has transformed quite miraculously. And the other biggest thing is that I was having a lot of trouble with my muscle testing all the way through when I was doing level 1 and level 2. And with time, that was completely resolved. And now for me to wake up in the morning and not wonder if my muscle testing is going to work before, if I have a client scheduled, that has yet to get old, because even after I had done emotion code, part of just what was going on in my physical body, mental body, everything, there was some imbalance that was causing the muscle testing to be a challenge. And I've also been able to see how my perspective on that has also changed. And I focused on it so much, but I realized the lesson I learned from that applies to other things in life, which was that my default was I'm making a mistake and I'm doing it wrong. If what is happening is not what I expect to happen, I must have done it wrong. And I'm learning to shift that as well. Is the thing that happened that isn't what I expected, like my muscle testing wasn't working right, it wasn't because I was doing it wrong or I wasn't healing as well as everybody else. It was helping me to learn something extra, or that's going to actually become a specialty area for me. And I am in advance. It's easier now. I'm thankful for it. That abundance challenge did have a purpose, even though I didn't see it at the time.
Yeah, that does sound like a challenge that you overcame, which is amazing to witness. Speaking of challenges, what kinds of challenges did you have in the Topakan Healing Certification Program? Because this is all about growing, and of course, you've grown quite a bit, but tell us a little bit about the challenges through those 6 months.
Yeah, I think probably the biggest one was, what if my muscle testing doesn't work when I'm doing a practice session on somebody? And I also, there were many times when we had our classes in the evenings, it was hard for me to sit up. And I would imagine myself lying down while I'm sitting there, because I want to enjoy the class so much, but my body just wants to be lying down. So it was still a challenge for me to do. And so then I kept, through the whole thing, I kept thinking, how am I ever going to be able to help other people if this is still so hard for me on a day-to-day basis? And so it was that faith that everything, because I had already gotten so much better. I just had a really long way to go from my starting point. And so it was the belief, and it was key that you and the other ones in the certifying class believed for me when I didn't have the belief myself that the breakthrough is coming, and it did come.
Wow, that's great. Now, do you have like a favorite client story or volunteer client story from your certification? Love to hear that.
Yeah. So one story is a lady who, before we met for years, she had been having to take multi-hour naps every single day. And after just 2 sessions, she was able to have the first day where she didn't have to take a nap that she'd had in years. And now if she does take a nap, it's much briefer. She can have a short nap rather than multi-hour. And she's also come off of 4 heavy-duty medications, which is one of her goals. She did it slowly and gradually and safely, but she's really thrilled. And this has been just after 2 sessions so far. I also had somebody whose taste and smell came back really effectively after just 1 session. And that person also said she had felt a lot more empowered to do her own self-healing work after we worked together. And then I had one other person who had abundance challenges and blocks with her business. And after our session, she felt she had a lot more clarity about her business, and the abundance challenges were, those blocks were released. So it's great to see what happens. I absolutely love it.
Yes, you feel and see. I see that you're so excited about other people's processes and improvements. That's fantastic. Now, if I were to say, do you have like an ideal client or favorite type of client? Maybe describe a little about who you love to work with.
Right. So to sort of summarize the way who I am and how I like to work with people is, I'll say I am a vibrancy virtuoso, and I'm on a quest to help sensitive souls transform their lives from surviving to thriving. So I'm passionate about helping people to discover their soul's mission and to live a vibrant life. And I know sometimes we talk about our area of specialty is the thing we've experienced a lot of contrast in. So I focus on this vibrancy on purpose because I had some experience of the contrast where I wasn't experiencing it yet. And so now I value it extra. And so a lot of the people that I love to work with have known for their whole lives that they're on a mission to help people heal, but they have done it in a way that was really depleting to them. And so I love to be on this journey with them where they discover how to harness their superpowers, and that if they heal the relationship they have with themselves, and then they can be filled with joy and light and help others from that standpoint. And yeah, we just clear the way so that that can happen. So then I'm helping exponentially more people than I could if I just helped one at a time. But we're working with people who are either already healers, but they're kind of feeling drained by it, or just needing some touch up, or people who are well on their path to helping others heal. So yeah, this is kind of the thing.
Ah, that's beautiful. And there are plenty of either professional or want to be professional healers that are feeling depleted and just not really sure what to do, for themselves. So that's fantastic that you're willing to work with them, and having gone through it yourself, that is, you can really speak from true experience, like what that was like.
Yeah, and the magic is already in each of these clients. They've already got the magic. It's just, yeah, we just have to balance some things out and remember that invest in self first and help from that place of being full and vibrant.
It's like tuning that cello.
That's right.
The
Yes,
music's already there.
I have the virtuoso word because I like the music connection.
Yeah.
Anything that has to do with a symphony, orchestra, tuning. That's why I love all the frequency work.
Ah, that's great. Now, if somebody was interested in possibly working with you, what's their first step to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so our first step is to do a 20-minute discovery call, which is free. And during that time, then we like to discover what is the ideal future scenario. So we will talk about what that looks like, kind of paint a vivid picture, and then look at what blocks there may be or opportunities there are. And so I'll usually do a mini assessment, and sometimes, yeah, heal and clear a few things to kind of demonstrate what that looks like. And then we dive in. Yeah. So the best way to get in touch with me at the moment is my email address. And then we go from there, vibrancyvirtuoso@gmail.com. Okay.
Fantastic. So we'll put that link down below, and in the future you will have your very own bio page. Yes. And that probably, as of whenever people are listening or watching this, once that's there, we'll actually link that below as well once that is available. So I would want to ask you, if you had like one key piece of advice for someone who's struggling right now, who maybe be overgiving, not feeling good, having multiple symptoms, what would that be?
Yeah, well, you said one, but I'll say the first thing is that I would say, do it together. Do this together with somebody else. One of the things that I hear over and over and over from people who have similar experiences is that they feel alone, and you don't have to do it alone. And so for me, one of the biggest components of the entire TOLPAKAN journey has been the community and having other people to do this journey with, sometimes on a daily basis. And that none of us is intended to do it alone. Even the modality itself, we find there are some things that another person can find and help you with. And we all have our own, yes, the modality itself is wonderful, but then the magic really happens when you apply our own being to it. And so I would say absolutely plan to do this journey together with other people. It's infinitely better and more powerful. And then the other thing I would say is everything that happens along the way is worth it. And so for anyone who happens to be in one of the less comfortable steps along the way, there are even valuable components about that. And if you can't see them, it's absolutely okay. And you don't even have to have pressure to try to see them right now. But just have that big picture faith of you're going to be able to see when the time comes that if your goal is to help others, everything that happens is going to help along, leading you towards that goal.
That is great advice. And I know that you're very passionate, not just about, being a master healer, but also an amazing coach and mentor. It's just kind of a natural part of what you do. So I really appreciate you for that. And again, for everyone watching, we're going to put below the contact information for Holly. So if whatever Holly is sharing is resonating with you and you would like some help, like Holly said, we really aren't meant to do it alone. It's great to have those skills, but at the end of the day, we are here in human bodies, so we can connect with each other, so we can be in community with each other, and then everything evolves and grows in a beautiful way. So we'll put that below the video. Holly, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. So totally appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Karen. It all happens because of you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time, and we'll stay in the light medicine community, stay connected. All the best, everyone. Bye for now.